Peace. Good evening. I'd like to welcome you back to another late night edition of my new channel, Behold. As always, I am certified player of Brooklyn. There's not many times that I get to come on here live in general. As always, I'm lacking making sure my stream works. I was starving and I ate a donut. I was talking to my son about something important before I did this show, and that's the reason that I had to come delayed on this fine evening from northern New Jersey. But if you guys haven't been to my show before, I am certified player of Brooklyn, New York. And my favorite thing to do is discuss world news, geopolitics. I don't set trip on politicians. I mean, I don't set trip as far as um, claiming political parties, but I do oppose many politicians. I do oppose many political parties. I think all of them have imperfections. Um, but I generally don't tolerate communists as far as pure communists, not college um, campus communists, coffee shop communists, if you will. I don't have much tolerance for the 2026 liberals. Even though I myself was a politically a New York City liberal in the 90s, I think that the party has distanced itself so much from normalcy that it's really hard to subscribe to anything that they put forward nowadays. Um, I do happen to have much of the people that I have as subscribers, I guess, come from the boxing realm. I subscribe to many boxing channels and frequent many boxing channels. And this was largely a boxing channel in its past iteration. Thus, the reason I wanted to change the name, but I just thought Behold sounded a lot more cool. But having said that, I think a lot of my faithful subscribers or the people that I propagate with on YouTube are more of the so-called black descent, if you will, Negroids. um, but having said that, a lot of times when I get the opportunity to come on YouTube and talk politics, is usually on a panel or on a channel that is propagated by or that's run by so-called black brothers. And a lot of these channels I've known for a lot of the channels I talk to, I probably have been talking to them for like going on a decade. Some of them even more than that. Wow, time flies. But this was probably 2015 era, and life was a lot simpler then. I think since Trump has stepped into the political realm, a lot of people tend to become farly bipolarized or polarized. To if you happen, like in my case, to not disagree with the current president Trump, a lot of people view you as their enemy, and it's just especially so in the when you're talking to people on social media who happen to be so-called minorities, like so-called black people, so-called Hispanic people. They tend to view you with a lot of rancor if you're not adamantly opposed to Trump. And I'm not going to stop listening to the channels that I love to listen to, in spite of the fact that I think a lot of them, when they speak politics, I mean, they're completely misguided. And a lot of them are misguided by largely emotion, that principal emotion being hate, and that hate being largely directed at one man, that one man being Trump. But I still like to listen to these channels for all their other content, in addition to their political takes. I mean, I like to listen to channels that I don't necessarily agree with at times, and I honestly like to talk to channels, especially about politics, that don't agree with me, because I hate circle jerks. But at times I find myself where I mean, lately it seems like it's hard to even get on a lot of panels like that I used to be able to get onto in the past. It's a form of censoring that's taking place among regular people, which to get onto it, at times I consider extremely whack. Because I mean, liberals are already known for censoring um, in the mainstream media. My brother Deuce Times, yo, if you want to pull up, man, you're more than welcome to. But I don't like the fact that at times, because people don't agree with you politically, that they want to not have you pull up like to certain political discourses. I mean, like it's I mean, there's also other forms of censorship that is implemented at times. I mean, I'm talking about my personal stories. I put the link out there those times if you want to pull up, or anybody else wants to pull up, more than welcome to. And you don't have to agree with me. Like I rather talk to people that I don't agree with. Not because I enjoy getting into arguments, because I really don't. But I don't need to censor somebody just because their politics don't align with mine. And my politics aren't like just straight up um Trump all the time. Even though I do at times find myself rooting for the I ain't got nothing, homie. Nah, of course you got, yo, my brother, you're brilliant, bro. I mean, and my man. Nah, I know yesterday on our brother Reggie Owens Boxing Talk and More, his channel, I know you put out that you're disenfranchised with the Don Trump of lately, and I don't even blame you. I mean, like I don't just because I mean I don't vote, but just because I wanted him to win the previous election, and at times I find myself defending Trump, because a lot of the channels, like I said, I mean, like a lot of the channels I fucks with happen to be so-called minorities, and so-called minorities that don't like Trump are very vigorous about their hate for Trump, or they're very vigorous about trying to tear somebody down who they feel is defending Trump. I don't rock with all of Trump's moves, especially when it comes to that country in the Middle East. Um, I do, however, like I mean, the Epstein stuff. As far as Trump's handling the Epstein stuff, I've said it many times since it's popped off, at least on my channel, that I don't agree with how Trump handled Epstein. But one thing I do will say about Trump, and I'm not gonna say this is intentional, is that Trump, um, when he gets involved with any sort of political issue, Trump stabbed his voting base in the back. Very disheartening. Now I feel you, my brother. I'm pretty sure you're talking about that country in the Middle East, whose name I don't want to mention outright, because I don't want to get this the censor bots to kill you, boy. Um, but one thing that is good with Trump, or like one thing that I find about the Trump effect, I'll put it like that, is that Trump gets people talking about issues, and it may not necessarily help them. Most times it doesn't help them. I think most times people bring up issues that they don't necessarily talk about all the time, and if it happens to negatively affect Trump, they'll bring it up all the time. And I think that it's these are very obvious issues. I mean, like, but not. I mean, I know Deuce Times knew who Epstein was probably for over 5 years. I mean, if I had to, I mean, I don't know you that well, but I know you knew about who Epstein was for some time. I knew about the Epstein stuff too. Um, I could guarantee you that most of the people that um probably like the liberal the people that vote blue no matter who, a good half of them probably didn't know who Epstein was up until like they started, maybe like at the time when they did a Netflix documentary. A lot of them started getting put onto who Epstein was. But like most of the world now knows who Epstein is because they think that he has an association with Trump. Um, I know that Trump has a relationship with Epstein, or had a relationship with Epstein. And it doesn't help Trump one iota. I mean, whether that be with his base, whether that be to give a talking point to people that hate Trump, the Epstein association with Trump is um, not the move for Trump, or is not helping Trump one bit. But one thing that I do love about the fact that there is an Epstein association with Trump, in spite of the fact that I want Trump to do well, is that people won't let the Epstein subject go. And Trump at times, I think Trump says stuff at times. Like I follow a lot of what like Trump's interviews. Like whenever Trump does a live like interview, I always try to catch it. I love catching news as it happens, whether that be shootings, because they try to switch up the news on you after the fact. Let me read. I'll read the comment in a minute or in 1 second. But Trump a lot of times points out things that makes it look like he's defending his interest, but it's almost as if he's giving like his haters something to bite on, um, so that they could just keep talking about that subject. He did something like that the other day with the president of the country, who we shall not name, the Yahoo of the net, Netanyahu, if you will. Um, where Trump actually mentioned that he should get pardoned um for like, I think it was like war crimes or some shit. I know that like they're trying to press charges on him. And if you were Netanyahu and you were being pressed for whatever crimes he's being pressed for, I think it's war crimes, but I know they're trying to press him for something. And Trump is the person that comes out and says he should get pardoned for that. Um, Mind you, many people that descend of that country, like whether they're here in America or wherever, a lot of them are liberals. If Trump is saying that he should get pardoned for that, you think Netanyahu wants Trump to be saying that right now when Trump, has so much bad favor? Like when people weren't really talking about the subject of Netanyahu necessarily going to jail, Trump will bring something like that up, and it's almost like people will start talking about it because Trump brought it up. Like who the fuck he thinks he is? Like, if that makes sense. I'm sorry, and I'll bring up other examples too. The war, inflation, fattening of the big business pockets, stripping pockets of Americans, backpedaling on immigration, dissolving Doge, and doing a 180 on his campaign trail. Yeah, I with the war, I mean, the Iran war. I mean, I'll go point by point, but I'm gonna take it off just so it's like now. But actually, I'll leave it up so it's like so I could read it bit by bit. In terms of the war, I don't know if you're talking. I'm pretty sure you're talking about the war in Iran. I mean, when they started off the jump, I'll give you my general take on Iran, and I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying that anybody should ride with my opinion. I'll just give you my like, what now that I think 2 months have passed, and I want to talk about Iran a lot. But in terms of Iran, now that 2 months have elapsed, when it first popped off, I was totally against it. I'm an anti-war person. I think war should be avoided. Think it's a waste of money. Um, and Iran is no joke. Iran could give a lot of pain to American troops, and I do care about American troops a lot. But now that time has elapsed, um and it seems as if like like the amount of death, because I care about Iranians too. I mean, like I don't want Iranians to die. You know, I mean, do I care about the Ayatollah, the Iranian leadership dying? Not one bit. Like the people that say death to America, which is not all Iran. Like that's probably like the religious heretics, their leadership class that's on that type of time. Do I care about them dying? Absolutely not. Um, do I care about their leadership being replaced as Trump has claimed has gone down? No. I actually um rather their leadership be placed, especially if they're on the time of debt to America. I live in America. But since the wars popped off, as far as American strikes that have happened in Iran, the worst that I've heard, or like the worst as far as like killing people, which is all that matters to me, that America has done to Iran, that I've heard is basically the fact that that school, the girls' school, got shot down. I mean, if anybody else wants to bring up anything like instances of this high death toll that America is registering in Iran, I mean, they could put me on too. I'm always down to learn. But the what I just mentioned, as far as America just not raining missiles and just killing everything in sight, as time goes on, it seems like it's more cementing that notion in my head that we're not really out there like operating recklessly. That other country that was um fighting on behalf of America when it pop I mean they're almost taking a step back. I mean, they put it out there to the world, if I remember correctly, that they're not putting troops on their ground of their own troops. And they actually went and they struck another country. I think they struck Lebanon. And Trump actually checked them on that. He said, for them not to be playing themselves and to bomb a different country. So it kind of, again, I mean, like, I'm not gonna say that like the people's opinion on Israel was through the roof, but there's a large contingent in America that will defend that country regardless of how bad they look. Now, Israel's actions in Gaza, it didn't help Israel PR, and a lot of people started turning on Israel at that point. But in terms of now that American troops are at risk, if you will, and again, like Trump has that ability to give light to an issue that people may not necessarily talk about on their own. Now we know, maybe, I mean, I hope, I mean, it's not a front page news, but from what I recall hearing is that Israel is letting the world know that they're not participating in any sort of ground invasion in Iran, which I mean, as long as America don't get involved in a ground invasion, which hasn't happened, I mean, I'm good with that. But one thing, another thing that the war is, I'm not gonna say accomplishing necessarily, but a conversation that has happened because this war is popping off is the fact that gas, um, the prices are going up, but the fact that it's so necessary, it's now it can't be denied. There's a lot of morons, like a lot of channels I go to that will try to drive the point that we could outright get rid of gas and and it's not necessary, that we could replace it with solar. And I mean, if that was the case, I mean, like right now, Europe is everybody in Europe right now is dead broke because of the price of gas. I mean, and you're talking, I mean, or everybody in England for the most, but more than anybody, more than anywhere, England. But these are people that like shit on Americans for having pickup trucks, and for the fact that many Americans, especially conservative Americans, who don't get censored at the scale in which they do in England, are pro drill baby drill, or pro not scaling back on like gas exploration or using gas. A lot of conservatives in America are very happy about having cheap gas prices. Only liberal idiots are tripping about the accessibility of gas. Only people who don't live in reality are putting it out there to the world that we should get rid of gas altogether. I mean, I'm not like a proponent of keeping gas forever, but gas is what powers the world right now. And if the reports of the fact that America doesn't get gas from the Strait of Hormuz are true, then I mean, our prices are affected by it for now. But these countries in Europe who snub their noses at America are the ones that are really affected by the fact that their policy of going green is really backfiring, that they need this so-called fossil fuel that they've had such a combative stance against. And again, I mean, America, at the end of the day, for the world to operate, it's going to take countries like America to provide energy to the world. I mean, and that's not just gas. I mean, I think America, we're at the with the a lot, like some of the like things that I like about Trump is his willingness to expand upon the American energy infrastructure. And he's not being greedy with it either. He's telling other countries, especially Europe, he's telling England, y'all should do the same. Y'all should expand upon your energy infrastructure. He's telling England the other day that I think the oceans and that they share with Norway have a lot of gas deposits that England should be snatching up and taking for themselves. But England, they want to do what they want to do and put people on bicycles like they do in New York City, and give speeches as to why everybody should live in smaller houses and use less energy, and then simultaneously invite more migrant communities into their country. I mean, they're putting themselves in a position, and Trump is showing the world, listen, America don't got to be in this position. And if it's up to me, if you leave it up to me, America, I'm going to leave America in a position in which it would be impossible for us to be starving for energy. Um, Fattening of big business pockets. Yeah, I'm not with it either. I mean, the one thing, I mean, I think the quickest way to create more jobs in America are by helping American companies. I mean, I don't agree with 99% of American companies, but we live in a capitalist society, unfortunately. I mean, capitalism is the best system that we have operating in the world right now. And if corporations are the fastest way to create long-term steady jobs in America, I mean, I gotta take the bitter with the sweet. Stripping pockets of Americans, yeah. I mean, like, not gonna front, like things are cheap right now. One thing I will say, that a lot cheaper than they were under Biden. I mean, liberals don't want to hear that. liberals want you to forget that a couple of months ago Biden was the president, and they want to put everything bad that's happened in the last 6 years on Trump, but they want you to also forget about the 4 years that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden were in office. Backpedaling on immigration. Um, I mean that's one thing that I've said about Trump since he's been in office the second term, and I've said this in many panels, and I've said it in a lot of comments of channels that don't like Trump. But I think that my biggest complaint is that we haven't got the immigration operation really going like is necessary. I mean, it's tough. I mean, that's no excuse. I mean, like because like any sort of ICE operation that pops off in America, it's commonplace for you to see, liberal lunatics getting in the way and blocking vehicles, getting bucked at. Um, I mean, you name it. Every city that ICE operations have popped off, it's been a real challenge. I mean, it seems as if the only way that a real deportation operation that of any sustenance would be able to pop off would have to include some involvement of the military. And I think there's only one politician capable of hitting that button, and I think it is Trump. And I mean, we're still in year one, so hopefully it's something that, as far as the deportation operation, that really needs to get underway in America to undo the wide open Biden border policy and to undo the already um, bad state of immigration that we had in America would likely need to include the U.S. military. And I'm for that too. I mean, like to send these ICE agents, you know, in little packs of like six and them get surrounded by, 200 lunatics, that's not going to work. And again, I mean, people that are anti ICE or anti deportation, they don't say, if ICE were like, say, trying to deport a child rapist, um, people that are anti ICE, they're willing to keep immigrant child rapists in country just because ICE wants to deport them. Like they'll take a stance of, we don't want any immigrant deported, regardless of what they've done. They're gonna counter with, oh well, they're deporting a lot of people that didn't do anything, but you don't know every case of that. But what I do know is that if you say, all right, before you even get to the crime that immigrant would commit, people that are anti-ICE or anti-Trump will take the stance of, I just don't want to deport anybody, um, because Trump don't like immigrants, and now I have taken the stance because I'm a virtuous liberal of not wanting any immigrant, regardless of the crime they commit, to be taken out of this country. And that's what you got to deal with. Like, I mean, like again, like the tribalized, polarized society that we live in now. I mean, are prone to subscribing to lunacy, and you also got to endure with the fact that some people will view you with anonymity if you oppose lunacy. But I'm not gonna say the stupid phrase "it is what it is," but um, 'cause I hate the phrase "it is what it is," but it's just how things are. If anybody wants to come through again, I'm gonna leave the. Where's the? Oh, that's the link. I'll put it up again. Uh, YouTube has not helped your boy Sir Foul Player of Brooklyn when it comes to showing them love algorithmically. YouTube will not throw me a bone, but I do hate talking to myself, and I rather people will come up here, whether you agree or not. I mean, actually rather you not agree with me. It makes the content more riveting. But and of course, I'm not a liberal. I will never censor you. I just don't. My one rule that I would say is that I don't like people over talking. I'm not gonna over talk you. But unless you're talking like some stupidity, or I don't like bloviating though too. Like, and bloviating, if you don't know what it means, it's just basically running on and on and on and not making a point, and like describing things that don't need to be described. I don't need ad hominem attacks either. Um, do I mind being insulted? Absolutely not. I actually love insulting people as well. But if it's just basically trying to frame things, or paint a picture and, like, give your description on how, Trump is not virtuous, and I think a lot of people try to make themselves look virtuous by um giving these vivid descriptions on why Trump is so bad. Like, I don't need to hear those. I'd rather hear, like, talking points. So again, if you want to come through, whether you agree with me or not, I'm not one of these liberal defender channels, of which I subscribe to many. And it seems lately, like, I mean, a lot of these liberal defending channels that I subscribe to, they only want to have a circle jerk on their channels and venting sessions about how their feelings are, their fifis are about Trump. They don't want any dissenting notion. They all just want to agree with each other and do terrible Trump impressions, and just these colorful descriptions as to why Trump is so bad, and no other political discourse. You know, but they do that, but they also don't allow your boy to pull up. That's why I wanted to pull up too. I mean, like, very frustrating at times, like, when you can't when you got to do combat through the live chats. And also too, I like to here and there, like, do these runs on my own channel. I'm not gonna pay for StreamYard because I'm too cheap, but StreamYard is the only website that's free at least once a month, but it also allows me to put the link up so that anybody that wants to come through, they could come through, and I do that in with the intention of the people who tend to disagree with me on my the times that I do pop up in chat in panels, the times that I do comment in chats, which by and large, I mean, I think 95% of the people don't agree with me, at least the channels that I've subscribed to. But this is the time where we could have a chin wag, conversate. Um, oh yeah. Speaking of which, wanted to talk about the events of last night, the assassination attempt that went down in Washington D.C. Actually, before I even continue, I mean, I hope you guys appreciate my part of my art collection behind me. I just got this one framed. Uh, they're both by the same two artists. My brother Optimo NYC. If you guys want one of his art pieces, I mean, contact him through Instagram, Optimo NYC. And he actually, which is this character right here, the big one. I mean, the one in the middle. This is his character, and these two are a different artist. These two faces of one artist. This is a different artist, but um, my bro was actually featured in the latest episode of Law and Order. They actually had to um, bless him for putting his artwork on the show. He has what I think is the biggest illegal mural, or not, I'm not gonna say illegal, the biggest not legal mural in the history of New York City. And that's under the Manhattan Bridge. And I got to know him. I know him now personally. I consider him my friend. But any help that a living legend could get along the way, I mean, is more than appreciated. I love the graffiti art form, and I think a lot of these people that are doing graffiti now are legends who walk amongst us today, but they don't get the accolades that they deserve until they pass away. But I've had these two pieces for a minute. You've probably seen them in the back if you subscribe to this channel. But I finally got this one framed, um, and I'm in love with it. I actually have other pieces of art. Let me show off the art before I go on to the Trump assassination. But I've actually acquired some more along the way. This is actually a piece that I got recently too. Let's see if I get the angle good. It's a artist called Kes5. Rest in peace. He's since passed away. Another legend of graffiti. And it was two pieces that I got framed of his. There's actually another cool piece, Scuff. So I actually on a channel called Defiant Brandon, and I was actually very happy to see that somebody recognized the artist that's behind me. Somebody actually shouted his name out on the comment section, and I was more than pleased. But that's my other bro, Noxer DOD, Department of Defense. Yurt. This is another piece I bagged recently. I've had this piece for a while, but I've actually gotten the Legends of Graffiti from my neighborhood to sign it, which is dope. Is a piece by Roach and MQ, another cat from my neighborhood, Roach, Legend of Graffiti. There's actually another piece I bagged recently. This dude had a newspaper story about him that is called The $1 Million Vandal. Piece by Mega from my neighborhood. Piece by Duel. Piece by Kez Gak. These are some more pieces from my brother Optimo. That's another Gak piece there. Big piece from my brother Optimo that I'm holding down for him at the moment. This is like 8 feet tall, probably. These are some other joints back here. Giz. I got another one coming on the way. Should be coming in a few weeks, Lord willing. There's another important piece right here. Just passed away. Rest in peace, Deck. VIC. Have another Deck piece up there too. Where is it? All right. Rest in peace, Deck. Very good man too. It's another piece from Ghost RIS. I actually love this piece. I don't know why. It's another Optimal piece. Dr. Whom. Look at that beauty. Yeah, I was just talking to my son about this too. We started our graffiti acquisition venture recently, and not only have we met great people, but but very proud of the collection that I've been able to acquire. Lord willing, it keeps increasing. I love art, but anybody wants to pull up again, the link is there. Got 4 people watching. I hope I got 4 likes in the bin in the can. But yeah, I wanted to talk about the assassination attempt that happened at the White House Correspondents' Dinner last night. That event happens every year, if I remember correctly. It's basically another circle jerk, like reporters. I think they bust jokes too on presidential candidates and politicians, if I remember correctly. But last night you had the unfortunate incident in which a young man who is a teacher from California, under very suspicious circumstances, mind you, like many of these incidents, always very suspicious. How they go down, how they're allowed to happen in a sense. But this young man was able to bypass much of the security from this Trump event, was able to enter into the venue that Trump was attending with, from what I read yesterday, was various weapons. They also said that he had a long rifle that he assembled on the site, and they, from the reports that I read, he tried to bum rush from to where Trump was, which was like 50 yards away from Trump, and they ended up shooting him before. Damn, I lost all my viewers like one fell swoop. Well, they ended up bucking him before he was able to reach Trump. He unfortunately was able to buck off at a Secret Service agent who was wearing a bulletproof vest. He's fine from what I heard in the press conference after that. But in the aftermath of that event, um, Trump had a press conference. I mean, say what you will about Trump. I mean, when it comes to access, you had a Joe Biden who had zero accessibility to the American public. Some people try to front on you and lie, and oh yeah, Biden was always accessible. Bullshit. I mean, even like people that are liberals now, they'll make it seem like, oh, we didn't know Biden had mental problems because the White House at that while during the Biden regime did such a good job of hiding Biden. Like, okay, so wouldn't the issue be that they were hiding Biden? Like, shouldn't you be bringing that up at a constant as the mainstream media? Like, why weren't they bringing up the fact that Biden was being hidden? Because a lot of people want to front like, oh, well, I didn't know Biden had problems. Like, okay, you don't have eyes. Like, Biden is not falling all over the place, forgetting himself when he talks. I mean, it's not like Biden started having problems when he became president. Biden had a lot of those issues prior to him becoming president. I mean, yes, they increased substantially after he became president, but that speech in which, like, for instance, Biden talked about roaches, I mean, or like being used to roaches, the speech where he was surrounded by so-called black children on the poolside, that was far before he became even a candidate. If I remember correctly, he was already talking crazy. Biden was known to say crazy comments. Even the comedian Robin Williams, when Robin Williams died quite some time ago, but he talked about how crazy Biden um, talked, you know, during a comedy special. So he already had that reputation of not only not being the smartest person, being very cavalier, like when he talked about his quid pro quo in the Ukraine, where Biden, at a speech that he was giving to the Council of Foreign Relations, mentioned the fact that there was a prosecutor that was looking into his son being involved with the company Burisma in the Ukraine, even though Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's son, didn't have any expertise with being a board member of an energy company in Ukraine, a country that Joe Biden was overseeing when he was the vice president under Obama. But Joe Biden, which no politician would do, candidly admitted that he pressured Ukraine with withholding $1 billion in aid from America if they didn't replace a prosecutor that was looking into Hunter Biden for being involved in that company, although he had no experience. And he even like gloated about it. He was being very cavalier. He's like, "Well, son of a bitch, like they replaced that prosecutor with somebody good." I mean, and what would a good prosecutor be in that instance? I mean, a good prosecutor for Joe Biden would be a Ukrainian prosecutor who is not looking in investigating his son, um, which was what the past prosecutor was guilty of in his eyes. But you also had not only was he stupid in not revealing illegal things that he was partaking in, like a real quid pro quo. Not only was he known for spouting off comments that made no sense even before he became a candidate, but Joe Biden was also known to be a big time racist. I mean, many statements he had made in the past, his association with Senator Byrd, his stating that he didn't want his kids to grow up in a racial jungle. You know, again, but liberals are gonna liberal or anti or people that have pure emotion when it comes to Trump. They're willing to ingest any sort of politician when it comes to thinking that they're opposing Trump. Having said all that, though, but and I only said that tirade for people that try to front like they didn't know that Joe Biden had a few screws loose. Again, I pointed out many instances in which Joe Biden had his screws loose even before he became president. Um, a lot of people also didn't find it suspicious that Joe Biden was actively being sequestered and hidden while on the campaign trail. I mean, Trump made many mentions in the fact that they were calling Joe Biden basement Joe because during a time in which he should have been campaigning against Trump in 2020, he was sequestered in his basement. Um, but with the Trump presidency, especially this iteration of the Trump presidency, one thing you got to give credit to Trump is that he's very, very extremely accessible to the media. He doesn't hide. A lot of people will front. Like, I mean, like if there's a little bit of bad Trump news and Trump doesn't make an appearance for 6 days or 5 days, people are, oh yeah, well, he's probably in the hospital. He's on his way out, or they'll make up a fake report. Oh, Trump might be dead, or Trump's dying, or like, oh, Trump doesn't want to show his face, and because such and such is happening right now, and it's a bad look for Trump. Nah, Trump is constantly, you know, good or bad, like out in front of the media. And we saw this last night in this failed assassination attempt. This light skinned brother, mulatto brother, half white, half black, um, tried to assassinate Trump. And I only mentioned the light skinned brothers because it seems as though the most radicalized brothers or half brothers happen to be for the most part. It seems like there's always light skinned brothers. I want to start pointing this out like more and more. I think that guy, the hell was his name? Jesse Williams, that actor that looking back, I mean, like that was the beginning of like the of all this racial tension that we started popping off since 2016. And I think that Jesse Williams speech at the award show in which he mentioned police brutality and he became kind of like the impromptu leader of the so-called black cause back then. I mean, I don't even know what that Jesse Williams actor is right now. I mean, the dude's like practically white, but it's always these like light skinned bros, probably raised amongst white people that are like the most radicalized during the racial era that we've endured the past 10 years. I think the past 10 years, I'm gonna chalk it down to the racial era. I think we're entering the end of the racial era. I mean, that's just a little note that I'm making amongst myself. Don't again, you don't need to subscribe what I'm laying down. But um, you had this half white black so-called black dude made a run at Trump, failed thankfully. I mean, even if you don't like Trump, I think it's very demented of some people like, oh yeah, I wish like he didn't fail. Like people have real issues. But meanwhile, like people like if you mention the fact that Biden had dementia, people look at you like you're some sicko. Oh, how dare you say that? You know, he's just got a stuttering problem. Oh, you have something against people that stutter? You know, are you a bigot? Like, but meanwhile, these same people like will are disappointed that this light skinned so-called brother um failed in his assassination attempt last night. Um but one thing that did stick with me from the Trump press conference post assassination attempt was that he mentioned the presidents who have had assassinations or political figures who have had assassinations, and they've all been people of relevance. And say what you will, I mean, easily in my lifetime, there's been no politician of more polarizing relevance than Trump. I mean, and I think honestly, like when it's all said and done, he's gonna be the most important president. Good, bad, indifferent. I mean, everything is changing in the world because of Trump. Whether you agree with it or not, I mean, whether we got to go through short term pain, long term pain, a lot of it will be because of Trump. But I mean, let's face it. I mean, I'm not judging my world solely on politics. I'm somebody who is very interested in the world economy. Um, we were as a planet, as Americans, going down a slope in which everything is unaffordable. I mean, if people want to blame it on Trump, they're fools. But the your dreams of owning a home have been harder and harder, at least since 2008. I mean, when I was a kid, I was always interested in real estate, something I've always mentioned. And in my neighborhood of Sunset Park, Brooklyn, for many, many years, the prices of houses, since I first inquired about houses in my neighborhood, they were they went from like low 90,000s to in 2000, and that was like in the 80s, um to about in the year 2000 they were probably like 120,000, for a brownstone house, whereas in 2004 that price probably tripled. You were talking like 300,000. And even then, I always dreamed of buying a brownstone house. That was always my dream. Um, but when they went and tripled, my thinking was like, it could only go down at this point. But one thing I wasn't factoring was that the mass migration was really taking off at that point, and that with more people meant higher prices as far as where people would live, which is houses. To where now in my old neighborhood of Sunset Park, Brooklyn, you'd have to be insanely rich to be able to afford a house in that neighborhood. You're talking at least 1.5 million. And these are houses that are crap. Like, I mean, a lot of them are 2 or 3 family houses, but they're not like, pretty. They all at like over 100 years old, tons of problems, um, nothing new, on no sort of renovation. And I mean, like, to swing a mortgage that's 1.5 million, I mean, you're talking like what, nine, like at least 10 grand a month. No job could afford you 10 grand a month mortgage. You'd have to be insanely rich. I mean, and it's very suspicious that most of these houses in Sunset Park, Brooklyn, are bought by immigrant Chinese people. Like, I mean, how do they get the money for it? Conversation we'd have to have another time. Too deep for you. I think I know why. I mean, I've known why for quite some time, but it's too deep of a conversation. I mean, it's a very frustrating conversation to have amongst my fellow so-called minorities, but a lot of them, I've broached the topic in the past, and they'll so-called minorities. I mean, me being a so-called minority Puerto Rican of New York City, when we have these conversations, we'll usually shit on ourselves when it comes to how other groups may bring us down, unless it's about white people. Like, so-called minorities have a hard on for talking about the white man. I mean, they fear the white man and they adore the white man simultaneously. But when you talk about how other groups are doing better than the so-called minorities who have already lived in this country long term, so-called minorities tend to like start shitting on themselves. Oh, well, those people save, and you know, like you could save enough money as a fresh off the boat like Chinese guy to swing mortgage on a $1.5 million house. Yeah, sure. Save, and by doing what? What were you selling where you could save that much? You know nothing about America, and all of a sudden you have enough to finance a $1.5 million house in Sunset Park, Brooklyn. Yeah, and again, I mean, like, I've suffered, like, not, I have to at times beat my own head on the wall when you talk about political issues with my fellow so-called minorities. But again, I'm gonna have to say the phrase that I hate the most. It is what it is. Um, I wish for the life of me that in 2027 we could stop using that phrase. Please, God. Um, yeah, I mean, I see a lot of cowardice in my stream this evening. Unfortunately, nobody's pulled up. Mind you, I mean, nobody knows that this channel for the most part exists. But I do make my way to go on other people's channels, and at times I do have a lot of, like, some of the same subscribers pull up, or but most of the people that tend to pull up don't agree with me. Most of the people that I converse with on YouTube don't agree with me, but unfortunately, um, couldn't get them to pull up this evening. Have a little bit of a discourse. But I'm gonna wrap things up soon. I mean, and like I'll finish my point regarding, or any points regarding the assassination attempt. I mean, again, I think Trump is the most consequential president in the history of America. I mean, I'm a person that thinks every scenario in my head as to what may come in the future. But if Trump is the last president of America, I wouldn't be surprised. Um, I subscribe to the notion. I mean, this is just a far out thought that we are, as of 2026, that this is the beginning of the real future. I mean, new technology is sprouting up this year, next year, that we've never dreamed of. I mean, AI wasn't even a thought 2 years ago, and now all of a sudden it's everywhere. Um, the drones that nobody has yet to identify that were flying over New Jersey, including very close to the town in which I live in now. Um, and still, I mean, like that was the biggest news. I mean, they were talking about it on the Breakfast Club even. Um, and there was never any explanation as to what those drones were. That story came and went. There was still no explanation. I think Trump even mentioned it. I think he made a mention that he knew what they were. Um, but I mean, that was all that it was, that what there was to it. But having said that, that's another new form of technology that we are now in the midst of, if you will. So I subscribe to the notion that we have formally entered into the future, not because of Trump, but or not because of Trump solely, but there's only one president in which I feel that America could benefit from this new era of the future that we're entering into, and that's Trump. I mean, Trump has the biggest plans. Trump is really willing to risk everything for America to get ahead. If I had to predict how things will play out, or if I had to predict the plan that Trump has in mind, I've said it in the past. I think Trump is very interested in controlling the hemisphere that is above and below America, which is from the southern tip of South America and Chile, all the way above Canada and into Greenland. I think Trump wants America to control that area. I think Trump wants to let Europe fall apart by their deal with the demons who subscribe to a green planet at the demise of a population that has to rely on fossil fuels, and a population that needs more energy. You got a European NATO countries that subscribe to um, massive migrations while telling their own populations not to procreate. Um, you have Europe that wants to set a World War III off against Russia, while also being a customer of Russia when it comes to having Russia sell them gas. Trump ain't with with that bullshit, and these people who run the world, I think, wanted to use a potential World War III as a way to corral the population into a future that they envisioned, which was basically, energy allowances, or getting around solely on bikes and living in small cities. Um, a highly censored world where you can't express yourself on social media, such as the time while Joe Biden was the president, and the Trump administration. I mean, say what you will, they've been adverse to a lot of these anti-free speech stances that the Europeans have taken. And it's a new world we're entering into. I mean, a few days. I mean, there's a sort of related story, but King Charles is going to be visiting America. I think he's going to give a speech in Congress, or he's visiting Congress. I don't know what the hell's happening. Every day it seems like there's some new shit popping off. One while Trump's the president, and I consider that a good thing. I think people got very complacent. People were having a good time when Obama was the president. Not paying attention to their politics, and making it seem as if any criticism of Obama was racisms. Um, and Obama was not the president of so-called minorities. Definitely not the president of so-called black people. Obama was the president of the rainbows. You know, um, that was his principal accomplishment. Guilt tripping and making the population that was most opposed to rainbows, which was black men, um, get acclimated to the concept of rainbow. And that was Obama's biggest accomplishment. Not that I have anything against that community. It may seem like I give them a hard time, but um, I know a lot of people who are, you know, of that community. No anonymity with them. Um, I've gone to many clubs that were had a lot of people from that community. Sound Factory, Limelight. What else? Uh, Crowbar, um, Exit. And it's New York. I'm from New York City. I mean, like, those people. At least in the past. I mean, I will say that though. That community, as far as the rainbows go, they're very up in arms at every, like, the rainbow community of New York City, especially in the 90s. These were very tough people. Like, they would talk about anything, and they were I mean, and you got to think about it. I mean, not only were they getting duped up the poop shoot, but um these were people that were at times getting vocally harassed in New York, and having to fight people, you know, constantly. The people that had to, like, group up and, like, talk about defending their own community from people that would just randomly try to beat them up. I mean, like, my brother and his friends, funny story, tried to make an incursion into a rainbow community, like, to harass them or beat them up, and he thought that he would do that in a recreational sense, and they ended up really putting a hurting on my brother and his friends. Um, and he deserved it, I mean, but that's what this community was about in the past. I mean, like, tough and willing to talk about anything, and but now, I mean, like, that community, it's very seems like, I mean, not everybody in that community, but the people who tend to be the trendsetters, or the ones that advocate for that community, it seems like there's more of a push of tolerating debauchery. Which, I mean, if that community got into debauchery in the past, it seems like they were doing it behind closed doors. Now it seems like it's a push for public debauchery to be accepted, in addition to having this weird compulsion of evolving that community among children, although that community, because science dictates, are not able to procreate their own children. But there seems to be this weird compulsion for pushing the male contingent of the rainbow community into the midst of spaces that are reserved for women and into spaces that include children. Not a big push of pushing lesbians into these spaces or more lesbians, but there's a big push of pushing male rainbow community members into women's spaces and into spaces of children. That's just a weird, a far out observation that I've made along the way. I mean, don't take my word for it. Like, do some research. Like, um, but yeah. I mean, God, I don't even know what I was talking about. But again, yeah, like to me, that was Obama's biggest accomplishment. And again, the reason I say that too, again, uh, I may talk like a white guy, but most of my friends are black people, um, and Latinos or so-called Latinos. But I say that to say that I've been around many black spaces, quote unquote, in my life. Barbershops, basketball games, dice games, fights. Um, but amongst the crowd of so-called black spaces that I've been in the past, it was very commonplace to hear candid statements regarding members of the rainbow community, particularly men of the rainbow communities. Whether those statements were at times there was statements of revulsion from members of the so-called black community when it came to giving statements of men of the rainbow community. I'll put it like that. And this was commonplace. I mean, like it wouldn't be very surprising for a being in a barbershop, for instance, and a member of the so-called black community speak of a male member of the rainbow community in the 90s, and for them to use very disparaging words and for nobody to bat an eye. Um, as that started to change for other communities, the last communities that was like a holdout to where that was like acceptable to have a sort of aversion for men of the rainbow community. I would say the community that had the biggest allergic reaction to men of the rainbow community was the so-called black community. And the guy who helped break that down the most was President Barack Obama, to make a long story long. So that was his biggest accomplishment. Other than that, Barack Obama did very little for the so-called black community. Now they may make shit up regarding like points that make no sense. Oh, it was good for my children to see so-called black man as the president, and look at him and his wife. Like, okay, like have things gotten better for the so-called black community since Barack Obama was the president? I would give a resounding no as the answer. I grew up amongst some of the toughest areas in New York City and have been around some real street figures when it comes to so-called minorities. so-called black community, and I would tell you that people were far more upstanding. I mean, you're talking about the lowest people in society were far more upstanding in the 90s, pre Barack Obama, I'll put it like that, than they were post Barack Obama. I mean, and I won't even have to look into any sort of statistics to say that the people, specifically of the so called black community, are probably doing a lot worse as far as home ownership, as far as they may be more educated. I mean, but you're probably talking about chicks and because I mean I always hear that stat, well, like, black women are the most educated group on in America or some shit like that. I mean, I don't see a lot of black women in the field, like as far as like jobs, besides like, like DMV or post office, shit like that. But businesses I go to, I mean, like, they're not no executives um that are coming out of these college with um sociology degrees and are, you know, the head of Amazon now or some executive position at Amazon. No, those women are working. They either become, I mean, these college educated so-called black women are becoming police officers, office women at the DMV or some shit like that, which is basically what they were doing in the 90s. I mean, like, so nobody are they, and what, and to say that, the so-called black women are more educated now or are the largest contingent of educated community in America, which I don't even know if that's true. I mean, it seemed as if the sisters were doing far better before they entered these colleges. Now that they've entered these colleges, it's just as dumb. I go to school now. Um, I mean, generally all women, but so-called minority women are probably doing the worst of all the chicks up in these schools. And again, I go to college currently. I mean, we're not we didn't, as so-called minorities or so-called black people, get much better post Barack Obama than they were doing pre Barack Obama. In fact, I subscribe to the notion they were doing far better. Um, yeah, that's a riveting conversation I had, though. Would have been good to contend that notion. If anybody has the cojones to pull up, more than welcome to pull up. But with that, I'll be wrapping this up soon. I'm gonna try and see if they give me like another hour of StreamYard for free because I'm not paying for StreamYard. Um, maybe in the next couple days, who knows? Um, have another open panel, see if anybody has the balls to pull up. But I got shit to do in the morning. Um, with that, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. In terms of the NFL draft, I don't know if you guys I mean, I'm just gonna make some content. But I am a Giant and a Jet fan. I love all New York teams except the Yankees. But I actually like the Giant and Jet draft. Not gonna say who I like the most. If I had to venture like to say who I like, what draft I liked a little bit better. Um, yeah, that's a tough one. Maybe the Jets, because I wasn't nuts about the David Bailey pick. I mean, I actually wanted them to trade that pick. There was decent edge rushers. I mean, David Bailey, some people will say he was the best pass rusher. I actually like David Bain a little bit better than David Bailey as solely a pass rusher. Um Short arms be damned. Like David Bain, I mean Ruben Bain was one of the illest pass rushers I've seen in quite some time. I think you could put him in the middle. Um, but that motor, I mean, like you really can't reproduce that. I mean, but they needed a pass rusher and they got a pass rusher. I actually like the tight end that they picked at 16, Omar Cooper. I mean, I actually like Denzel Boston a little bit better, but I liked Omar Cooper a lot in Indiana this year. Um, I thought he earned the first round grade, and they picked him at the end of the first round, which was good to see. They had to trade up for that though. Um, Second round, I mean, they picked up the cornerback from Indiana, which I liked a lot too. That kid's very feisty. Um, Even though he's very small, he has a big wingspan, and I think that they talked about putting him as a slot cornerback, which I would actually leave him as an outside cornerback, even though he's very tiny. I mean, like, but that kid plays very well on the outside, um, at the cornerback position. In the third round, I forgot who the Jets picked. I don't even think we had a third round pick, or did we? Damn, did the Jets have a third round pick? But in the fourth round, they picked Cade Klubnik, which I wasn't nuts about them taking him or the fact that they traded up to take him, but they needed a backup quarterback, and he's a good project. Basically, whoever the offensive coordinator likes the most, take him. They defensive tackle they took in the fourth round. I like him too, from Florida State. They needed a defensive tackle. The other people they got, I think they got a cornerback. I like him too. Giants um got the linebacker from Ohio State. I mean, Arvell Reese wasn't totally gun ho for him. I don't like taking linebackers high, and I hate taking these new age linebackers that don't have a real position, um, especially high. These are people I take in the teens at best. But Arvell Reese does have good pass rushing ability. Um, he actually has very good side to side movement too, which and some people thought he should be the second overall pick, and they got him in the fifth pick. The lineman they got, Manoa, I think his name is, or kid from Miami. He's good. I mean, he had a potential. A little bit of a injury concern because he had a herniated disc in his back, but he had that herniated disc all of last year, and he still played really well. Who else did the Giants get? The cornerback, Colton Hood. He's a beast. I thought he was gonna go in the first round. Um, Trying to think who else did the Giants get. Um, but if it were between the cornerback that the Jets got versus Colton Hood, I would probably take Colton Hood above the Jets cornerback only because there's less of a risk. Even though I love that kid that the Jets ended up taking from Indiana as a cornerback, but if it's cornerback versus cornerback, second round from the draft, I would take the Giants pick. Um, the Giants also picked that wide receiver from Notre Dame in the third round. I thought there were better picks there, and the fact that they had to move up to take him. The only thing I like about that kid was that he's really big. Um, he didn't have a great quarterback throwing to him last year. Notre Dame was a little bit of a mess early in the year, and but that receiver kind of always stuck out to me. I mean, he's not gonna be a beast, I think, but he's 6'4". I've been wanting the Giants and the Jets to get a big receiver, and I love big receivers. So hopefully he does well. Trying to think who else the Giants ended up taking. But I was most excited about the number 10 pick, that lineman. I think he's going to play on the inside. Eventually, he should go to the right tackle position. But I think he could be a real weapon day one on the inside. Everything's about Jackson Dart. I mean, listen, I didn't like Jackson Dart when he was coming out of college, but he made the year really fun last year for the Giants, and he played a lot better than I anticipated. And everything right now is about protecting Dart. Um, so we'll see. But I liked both draft classes for the Jets and Giants. This is the first draft that I didn't get to watch. I usually watch every second of the draft, all 3 days. But this is the first year that I wasn't able to. But of course, it's the year that the Giants and Jets had the best results, so I'm happy with that. With that, I mean, I'm gonna be ending this stream. Hope you guys have a incredible rest of your week. I'm out. Peace.